Hold up. Wait a minute.
Bruh.
Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, hit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock, I rock, I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, hit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty. Exposing the industry. Unsolved mysteries. Sticking to reality. Fair use commentary. Talking about cults. Trying to get results. Exploring cults. Exploring. Researching. Debunking. Investigating. Being nosy. Super nosy. Being messy. Being shady. Rabbit hole news. That's me. The chick with ADHD. Unmedicated. But quite educated. Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like. Hit that like. Let's go. Let's go. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Hi, everybody. Hold up. Let me get big screen. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Welcome. Make sure you guys are hitting that like. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Guys, welcome back. Welcome back. We are back at it again. Okay. Now, first of all, let me shout out the people that donated. We were able to get today's transcripts, which was amazing because, like I said, I'm able to go live and talk a little bit about it and stuff like that and everything that's going on. Now, specifically what we're going to focus on today is Kid Cudi. There were so many questions that we had about Kid Cudi's cross-examination, testimony, what was said. There was this in between, and we just have to talk about Kid Cudi. All right. So if you've not been following this trial, you're probably going to feel a little bit lost, but that's okay because there's so many videos that I have done. And if you're wanting specifically just the court information and not the 6, 7, 5-hour lives that we've been doing, just go to the thumbnails that said official court transcripts, because that's going to get you right to where you need to go. Now, of course, there's so much more to these court transcripts, but tonight we're only going to focus on Kid Cudi. I'm also currently working on, it's on the editing phase right now, Don Richard's cross-examination with the defense. We're still working on Cassie, that's also, hopefully I'll be releasing that one this weekend. I've been behind and just trying to work myself in through this, right? So luckily there's no court tomorrow. We have the weekend and then we have Labor Day. So we won't be back to court till like Tuesday. That's going to give me plenty of time to catch up. So you'll see probably, I might do a live here and there just to check in. And there's some other news sources that we have to catch up, like other things that are happening in the news that we have to catch up on. Apparently I'm behind, but I'm like tagging everything. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll do a Sunday live. That's not really Diddy, but we will definitely do something, right? But we have to catch up. So on my wonderful legal document, it says legal. If you know, you know. If you've been following this case, you know what legal means on the document. I have all of the videos that we are working on. And you're talking about, oh man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. 8 more videos this weekend. Y'all laughing, that Ellen. Oh my God. So let's get it together. Let's talk about Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi, from his own words, he basically dealt with Cassie Ventura at some point when Cassie was still dealing with Sean Diddy Combs. And this has been, I think, since Cassie's lawsuit. It was alleged that Diddy had blown up Kid Cudi's car, that somehow he had sent somebody to go break into the apartment. So a lot of us, we were left just asking a lot of questions about what did Kid Cudi say? I wanted to know. Did he get played? Because apparently he said he did. Brian Steele. Ooh, Brian Steele. Hold up. I got my gavel. I may not be I'm always the judge. We're in the courtroom still, even though, it's after hours, we're still in the courtroom. Brian Steele apparently got reprimanded one way or another after court. I haven't read that. So we got the transcripts hot off the presses here. They're so hot, I can't even touch it. It's hot. So we're going to get right into it. All right, let's get it together. Let's start the read. Welcome, everybody. I'm not going to be paying attention too much to the chat. If you guys, I know, always get mixed up. Shout out to you, Last Ronin. If you guys, first of all, very important that you guys support the channel. This is like, we're going to follow this through. Okay. We got a couple more weeks of this. We're going to follow this through. All right. We're going to do it. So I ask you guys to continue to support the channel, whether it's a couple dollars on the Cash App that I can set aside. Just put 4 transcripts. I'll set it aside for the transcripts, or the Venmo or the Super Chat or anything. Y'all, we're working overtime and we're going to make it happen. Okay. Okay. Welcome. All right. I'm not going to pay attention to the chat, but I do see the chat box right there a little bit. So I'll be able to stop every once in a while. All right. So let's get right into it. Now, hold up. Where are the transcripts at? So for those that were with me earlier in the morning, now this is page, make sure I got this tagged up, 2,344, page 94 on it. So there was a character by the name of George Kaplan who worked for Bad Boy Records. He had done Bad Boy. He had done his interview and direct examination with the prosecutors. He is the one that basically took immunity, and very publicly it's known that he took immunity. All right. After George Kaplan, then it became Kid Cudi. We thought like there was a mix up on the days, but he's here, my friends. So let's get it together, guys. The government, Kid Cudi gets sworn in. His real name is Scott Cudi. We call him Kid Cudi. That's his stage name. So we're going to call him Cudi or Kid Cudi for the purposes, because if I say the name all the way, it's going to mess me up. All right. Government calls the witness Scott Kid Cudi. All right. Kid Cudi is made to spell out his name, and he is sworn into the court. Miss Johnson, Emily Johnson, with the government, does the questioning. This happened today, May 22nd, which is Thursday. And he was the second person to be questioned. Okay. The court tells Miss Johnson that she could proceed. So, good morning, Mr. Cudi. He says, hi, what do you do for work? I'm an actor and a musician. Hold up. Get my table settled. I'm an actor and a musician. Are you known by any other names? Kid Cudi. Miss Johnson for the government asks Miss Foster, who's working there to help facilitate exhibits, to put on some exhibits. Mr. Cudi, do you recognize who's depicted in government exhibit 2A-401? Yes. Who is that? Cassie Ventura. Do you know Miss Ventura? Yes. How do you know Miss Ventura? We were friends. We dated briefly. How did you first meet Miss Ventura? Just at an event in New York years ago, around like 2008. Did you ever collaborate professionally with Miss Ventura? Yeah, we worked on some music together. You also mentioned you briefly dated. Approximately when did you date Miss Ventura? 2011. You can take that down, Miss Foster. Okay, exhibits are taken down. Mr. Cudi, who else, if you know, was Miss Ventura involved romantically with around the time that you were dating her in 2011? Sean Combs. Okay, another exhibit gets shown, 2A-101. Mr. Cudi, do you recognize who's depicted in government's exhibits? Yes. Who is that? Sean Combs. Is that the same Sean Combs who was romantically involved with Miss Ventura? Yes. All right, Miss Johnson asked the exhibits to be put down. Mr. Cudi, when you first were dating Miss Ventura, give me one sec, y'all. What, if anything, did you know about the status of her relationship with Mr. Combs? When we first started dating, you mean? Yes, when you first started dating. That she and Sean Combs had some problems and they weren't dating anyone. Did you did your understanding of the nature of their relationship ever change? Did the what now? Did your understanding of the status of their relationship ever change? After she told me? Yes. No, not that I knew of. Okay, Miss Foster's asked to put more exhibits. Do you recognize Mr. Cuddy, who is depicted in this exhibit? Yes. Who is that? Capricorn. How do you know Capricorn? She was a friend of Cassie's. I want to direct your attention to December of 2011. Did there come a time when law enforcement responded to your home in December of 2011? Yes. Why did law enforcement respond in December of 2011? Because I had a break-in. I'd like to start at the beginning of the day of the break-in. How did your day start? Well, I got a call from Cassie around 5:30, 6 a.m., and she told me that Sean Combs had found out about us. I was really confused, but she asked me to pick her up. She sounded really stressed on the phone, nervous, scared, so I went to pick her up, and yeah, a few follow-up questions for you. When Miss Ventura said that Mr. Combs had found out about us, as you said, what was your understanding of what Miss Ventura was saying? Objection from the defense. Judge says overruled. You can answer. Repeat the question. Sure. You testified that Miss Ventura told you Mr. Combs found out about us. What was your understanding of what Mr. Combs had found out? Hold up, y'all. Make this a little bit smaller. Okay. What was your understanding of what Mr. Combs had found out? That me and her were dating? And you also testified that you were confused when you heard that. Yes. Why were you confused? Because I didn't think she was still dealing with him. And you mentioned that you went to pick her up. Is that right? Yes. Why did you go pick her up? She wanted me to come to pick her up. And she was also worried that he would come to my house because he asked for my address and she gave it to him. When you picked her up, could you please describe for the jury Miss Ventura's demeanor? Very stressed, she's scared, didn't know what Sean Combs would do. Prior to the phone call you received that you just testified about, had you and Miss Ventura previously discussed the nature of her relationship with Mr. Combs? Yeah, about like if we were still hanging out or if she had seen him or just meaning in general. Let me be more specific. What, if anything, had Miss Ventura previously told you about Mr. Combs being physical with her? That he was abusive. Objection. Objection by Mr. Brian Steele. Your Honor, it's sustained. Mr. Cuddy, after you picked up Miss Ventura, where did you go? I took her to Sunset Marcus. What's the Sunset Marcus? It's a hotel in Los Angeles. Why did you go to the Sunset Marcus after you picked up Miss Ventura? I used to frequent the Sunset Marcus and I just thought it was safe and just wanted to put her somewhere where she was off the radar. When you say safe, what do you mean by that? Just safe, away from him. When you and Miss Ventura were at Sunset Marcus, who else, if anyone, did you speak to while you were at the hotel? Capricorn. So before we talk about the substance of the communication, I have a couple of questions. Okay. Had you spoken to Capricorn before this morning? Yes. How often had you spoken to Capricorn on previous occasions? Quite often. She hung out with me and Cassie a lot. On that morning when you were at the Sunset Marcus, how did you speak to Capricorn? On speakerphone. Who else was present, if anyone? Cassie. And can you describe how Capricorn's voice sounded on the phone that you and Miss Ventura had with her at the Sunset Marcus? She was very scared, sounded like she was on the verge of tears. What, if anything, did Capricorn say to you and Miss Ventura on the phone call about what was happening at the moment for her? Objection, Your Honor. The court, that's overruled. You can answer. That Sean Combs and an affiliate were in my house and she was in a car. She was forced to go along with them over there. And what, if anything, did Miss Capricorn say about where she was at that moment? She was in a car outside of my house waiting for them. And what, if anything, did Capricorn say where Mr. Combs was at that moment? Mr. Steele interjects. Give me one sec. Mr. Steele, ask and answer. Sorry. Objection. Ask and answer. The court overrules. Okay. Take a little drink. Whew. Okay. Okay, here we go. Sorry, y'all. I'm not looking at the chat. I promise to look at it later, okay? Let's get it together because we have so much to review. Okay. The court overrules. In my house, after you spoke to Capricorn, what did you do next? I got in my car and went to my house. Did anyone go with you when you went to your house after that phone call? No. Okay, Miss Johnson asked Miss Foster to pull up a document for court identification for government exhibit, and then proceeds to ask Kid Cudi questions. Mr. Cudi, do you recognize what's depicted in this exhibit? Yes. What is it? It's the front of my old house. And is this the house you drove to after receiving the phone call from Miss Clark? Yes. The government offers government exhibits 8C-102. Mr. Steele responds, no opposition. So 8C-102 is admitted into evidence by the court. Will you please publish this to the jury, Miss Foster? Mr. Cudi, what was the address where you were living at the time? 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. And you mentioned that this was just so I'm clear, you mentioned that this door we see in the photograph, is this the front gate door or is this the door to the residence? This is the front gate door. Is there an additional door to the residence? Yes. You can take that down, Ms. Foster. How would you describe the neighborhood that 8925 Hollywood Hill Road is located in? Quiet, family-oriented. And approximately how long was the drive from the Sunset Marquis Hotel to your home at 8925 Hollywood Hills Road? Maybe like 12 to 15 minutes. And in December 2011, what kind of car did you drive? A Porsche 911 Cabriolet. Was that the car you were driving that evening? Yes. While you were on that drive from the hotel to your home, what, if anything, did you do? I called Sean Combs. How did you have Sean Combs' phone number? I just had it from years ago. Did Mr. Combs pick up your call? Yes. Can you describe the conversation that you had with Mr. Combs on the drive to your home? Yeah, I'm going to be very candid. I said, motherfucker, you in my house? And he was like, what's up? And I was like, motherfucker, are you in my house? And he was like, I just want to talk to you. I was like, I'm on my way right now. And he was like, I'm here. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that last bit. After you said, I want to talk to you, what did Mr. Combs respond to you? What did Mr. Combs respond to you with? No, he said he wants to talk to me. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. And I said, I'm on my way over to my house right now. And he's like, I'm over here waiting for you. When Mr. Combs said, I'm over here waiting for you, what was your understanding of where Mr. Combs was located? At my house? What was Mr. Combs' tone of voice during that phone call? Calm? When you arrived at your house, focusing first on the outside of your house, what did the outside look like? Pretty normal. Were there any security cameras at your residence at the time? Yes. Were those security cameras working that evening? They weren't. I thought they were working, but they weren't. You find out later that they weren't working? Yeah. Where were the security cameras positioned on the exterior of your house? To the side. Like somebody moved it out of the way. When you say someone moved it out on the way, can you explain what you mean by that? Like the camera was angled down at the door originally and it was moved to the opposite angle. When did you discover the camera had been moved to a different angle? Once I got to the house? And was the camera at a different angle earlier before the break-in? Yes. Had you moved the security camera at all? No. I was focused. I want to focus now. I want to focus now on the inside of your home. When you went inside, was anyone inside of your home? No. What did you see inside your home? Some gifts that I bought for my family were open. Some stuff I got from Chanel, and then my dog was locked in the bathroom. So taking taking those one at a time. Where were the gifts that were open? On the kitchen counter. What type of gifts were those? I can't remember exactly what specifically, but it was stuff from Chanel. And you've mentioned that your dog was locked in the bathroom. Is that right? Yes. How did you typically allow your dog to stay in your home when you weren't present? I just let him roam. Had you shut the door to the bathroom before you left? No. Before the break-in, how long had you had your dog? I think by this time maybe 3 years. And I want to focus on the immediate aftermath of the break-in, right after. What, if any, changes in behavior did you notice in your dog after the break-in? Very jittery and kind of on edge all the time? I want to focus on what you did next. After you got to your home, what did you do after that? I got in the car, and that was when I called Sean. So you got back in your car after you went to your home. Yeah. Were you still alone in the car? Yeah. And you mentioned you called Mr. Combs again. Yeah. Why did you call Mr. Combs again? Because I was looking for him. Why were you looking for him? Because I wanted to confront him. I wanted to fight him, you know? Did you call Mr. Combs? Yeah. Did he answer? Yes. Can you describe the exact conversation for the jury? I can't remember my exact words, but I was kind of like asking him where he was. And he was like, I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. So at that point, I hung up and I thought to myself, I was like, okay, you're angry. Objection. Sealed. Grounds? Non-responsive. Court says that's overruled. Okay, you're angry. Just think about this. You know, like I just thought, like, I don't know who he has with him. I don't know what his intentions are. Objection. Continue on the next page. Why don't we get a fresh question? This is what the court asked. That's fine, Miss Johnson speaks. Mr. Cudi, let me take a drink, y'all. Hold up. Hold up. Whew. All right. Welcome, everybody. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and thank you. I'm just reading through. Fitz LA, thank you so much for being a member for 4 months, my love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate your support. Okay, let's get it together. The government is going to ask a fresh question. Mr. Cudi, what did you do after that phone call with Sean Combs? I thought about, the reality of the situation, not knowing what I was walking myself into. So I decided to call the police. Can you describe Mr. Combs' tone of voice when you spoke to him on the phone while you were in your car? Calm. Where did you go after you called the police? I went back to my house. When you returned home, was anyone there? Yes. Who was there? The police. Did you speak to the police? Yes. Did you make a report about the break-in? Yes. Did you see Miss Ventura later that day? Yes. What was her demeanor like when you saw her later? Stressed. You mentioned that this was in December 2011. Is that right? Yes. Where did you spend the Christmas holiday in December 2011? With Cassie's family in Connecticut. Where did you stay in Connecticut when you were there for the holidays? At her family's house. Can you generally describe Miss Ventura's demeanor when you were in Connecticut for the holidays with her family? I think being around her family really did a lot for her at that time. She really needed it. When you were away in Connecticut, did you have any additional communications with Mr. Combs? Yes, he had hit me up a couple of times. When you say he had hit you up or hit you, what do you mean by that? He texted me. Did he text you? You said a couple of times. How frequently did Mr. Combs text you? It wasn't every day. It kind of stopped at some point when I responded to him and I told him I didn't want to talk. His text messages were always along the lines of him wanting to speak. Just get to the bottom of it. When you say get to the bottom of it, what are you talking about? Just figure out what's going on. I guess he was in the dark about things and wanted to talk. But at that point, post break in, I didn't want to talk to him. Did you respond to Mr. Combs' text? Yeah, I told him, specifically told him, you broke into my house. You messed with my dog. Like, I don't want to talk to you. When did you leave Connecticut? A little bit before New Year's. By January of 2012, after New Year's, what was the status of your relationship with Miss Ventura? We weren't really hanging out. Why was that? I guess objection. Brian Steele objects. Court, can you rephrase the question? Sure. You said you weren't really hanging out with Miss Ventura. No. Did the relationship end? Yeah. Directing your attention to January of 2012, did there come a time when you learned that your car had caught on fire? Yes. How did you learn that your car had caught on fire? My dog's babysitter called me in the morning. Approximately what time did you receive that phone call? 6:30, 7 a.m.? What was your understanding of where your dog's babysitter was located when she called you? At my house? Was it your understanding that your dog's babysitter was telling you what was happening in real time? Yes. And what did your dog's babysitter say to you about what she saw? She told me my car was on fire. Was anyone else present at your house at that time? No. Where were you? I was at my ex-girlfriend's sister's house. Approximately how far away from your house were you? Like 45 minutes or something like that? Where was your car at the time your babysitter called? In the driveway. Was it in the driveway of the same home at 8925 Hollywood Hills Road? Yes. After you received this call from your dog's babysitter, what did you do? I immediately went to my house. Miss Johnson's questioning continues and asked Miss Foster to pull exhibits from the government. I'm going to show you 6 total pictures, Mr. Cudi. Do you recognize what's depicted in those pictures? Yeah. What is this? My porch. Okay. Miss Foster asked for more exhibits from the government. Do you recognize what's depicted in these photos, Mr. Cudi? Yes. What is it? The damage from a Molotov. Y'all help me pronounce this. From a cocktail. I keep thinking of Grand Theft Auto every time I see this. Put it in the chat. I said it earlier. Molotov. Thank you. The damage from a Molotov cocktail in my porch. Thank you, Ronan. Is this your car? Uh-huh. Is this your car? Yes. Miss Johnson speaks to exhibits, what to show, continues her questioning. Mr. Cudi, do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs? Yes. Is that your car? Yes. Okay. The government offers more exhibits. Mr. Steele doesn't oppose, Your Honor. Exhibits are admitted into evidence. And Miss Johnson asked for more exhibits to be published for the jury. Mr. Cudi, when did you receive these photos? while I was on my way to my house. Who sent these photos to you? My friend Chip. Who is Chip? He's a good friend and collaborator. Why did Chip send you photos of your car? He was closer to my house and I wanted to see the damage that had been done. Did you ask Chip to take photos of for you? Yes. So I want to focus on these two photos. First, on the one on the left, can you describe what's depicted in the photograph on the left? It looks like the top of my porch was cut open, and that's where they inserted the cocktail, the modal. Oh my God, let me put this. This is going to bother me. Molotov cocktail. Excuse me. Um, um, um. And that's where they hold up. And it looks like that's the top of my porch was cut open, and that's where they inserted the Molotov cocktail. And the photograph on the right, from what angle is that photograph taken? It looks like that's from the passenger side looking up at the roof. On the right hand side of the photograph, what is the hole? Is that the same hole in the roof you can see on the photograph on the left? 3F 101? Yes. Miss Johnson asked for more exhibits to be shown, or excuse me, to be taken down. Mr. Cudi, starting with one on the left, can you please describe what we are seeing in government's exhibit 3F 103? That's the door to the driver's side, smoke damage. Then what is depicted in the photograph on the right? That's the hole in my roof. Can you please take those photos down, Ms. Foster, and pull up more government exhibits? What's this? What's depicted in these two images? The damage to the driver's side. You mentioned a Molotov cocktail earlier. Yes. What is a Molotov cocktail to your understanding? It's would you say explosive or something like that? I guess it's like a bottle with some type of like inflammatory liquid inside and cloth that light up on fire and then it ignites. You did eventually get to your home on the day of the car fire. Yeah. What did you see when you arrived home? Just the damage. I saw the Molotov cocktail. Yeah. Are these the photos that we just looked at similar to what you saw when you arrived home? Yeah. When you say I saw a Molotov cocktail, what did you see? The bottle and it was kind of like just burned up? Any law enforcement present when you arrived here to your home? Yes. Did you speak to law enforcement that day? Yes. Did you make a report? Yes. With respects to your car, was your car able to be repaired after the fire? No. And when you said that you saw the bottle for the Molotov cocktail when you returned home, where was that bottle? On the ground? Was it on the ground inside or outside of your vehicle? Outside of the vehicle. Was it near the vehicle? Huh? Where was it in relation to the vehicle? It was near the vehicle. What was your understanding of where the Molotov cocktail was found by law enforcement? In the driver's seat. I think you mentioned this, but what was your car? But was your car able to be repaired? No. What was your reaction to your car being set on fire? What the fuck? Objection by Mr. Steele. That's overruled. We're going to take like a 5-minute break whenever you're ready in the next couple of minutes when you find a good landing place. And this is what the court is telling Mrs. Johnson. I'm about to move on to a different topic. So I think this may be a good landing place. Very good. Members of the jury, we're going to take a short recess and we will be back in 10 minutes around. Okay, time frame. All right. So for those that were in the live, this is when they took that cliffhanger. They were like, they left us on a cliffhanger. Okay. So they're doing a recess. Okay. And the court tells Kid Cudi that they'll be back in 10 minutes. Everybody takes a recess. Let's come back and let me stop right here. right here so I can stop and see what the chat is saying. Hope you guys are y'all hanging in there. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Fiji, Fiji. Why did I say Fiji? Luigi. I was thinking about Fiji water. Ice drink refresher fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Cheers to take a drink fun. Hit that like the butt on. We need 100 more. It's free. Thank you for the $4.99. And Luigi, thank you for the $4.99. Porsche. Excuse me. A Porsche. Y'all gotta teach me how to see. I don't be having these fancy smancy cars, okay? Thank you. You know what? EHC Bunny, I was thinking, I'm not gonna lie to you. When we were live and we were talking about the Molotov cocktail, I was like, oh, like that's that Grand Theft Auto weapon. You know how in Grand Theft Auto, if y'all ever play Grand Theft Auto, the little player always had. I always used to throw those all the time, and it was great because it would blow up the whole thing. All right, and for those that are watching the replay, we're gonna be I'll put timestamps. Okay, I promise y'all. Oh my God, Sylvia, Luigi, hand over your devices and go on the sidebar. We on a court sidebar. All right. Don't distract me. We're doing good on time. We're about to actually finish this, so we'll be good. Okay. I'll look at the chat later. Not Jesse Weber. Lord have mercy. Get it together, Luigi. All right. Let's come back. The court says, the court then directs to Miss Comey, who is for the government. Are we still on pace based on what we've discussed earlier in terms of the witnesses for today? Miss Coney, we will definitely get through all of the witnesses today. Perfect. When is a little up in the air. Mr. Kaplan Cross was about 3 minutes as long as we had expected. But other than that, we will get through all of these witnesses today, Your Honor. Okay, that's fine. All right, Mr. Cudi comes back. And Mr. Cudi, of course, is already sworn. And the government will continue with Emily Johnson, who is for the government. Mr. Cudi, before we took the break, we were talking about the day your car was set on fire. Do you remember that? Yes. Just 2 additional questions about the day. Ms. Foster, please put exhibits, government exhibits. Mr. Cudi, was the damage depicted in government's exhibit 3F-105 present on your vehicle before you got the call from the dog sitter you described earlier? I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'll strike that question. The last time you saw your car prior to the phone call you got from the dog sitter, did your car look like this? No. What was your understanding of whether this was accidental or intentional? It was intentional. Ms. Foster, can you please pull up government exhibit 3F-103? Mr. Cudi, did the door of your car look like this before you got the call from your dog sitter that there was a fire in your car? No. Was it your understanding that this damage was accidental or intentional? Intentional. You can take that down, Ms. Foster. When was the last time you saw Miss Ventura? 2012. Where did you see her? At the Soho House? When did you see Miss Ventura at the Soho House relative to the day your car was on fire? A couple of days later? Why were you at the Soho House? I reached out to Sean Combs after my car had caught on fire and, finally told him that we needed to meet up to talk. He had been wanting to talk to me. So after the fire, I was like, this is getting out of hand. I need to talk to him. Why was it, Mr. Combs, you reached out to after the fire? Because I knew he had something to do with it. Your Honor, can we sidebar? Court. Is there an objection? Objection. Objection is sustained. The jury should disregard the witness's last answer. Ms. Johnson, you may ask the next question. Mr. Cudi, who, if anyone, helped arrange the meeting at the Soho House? This man named D-Rock and my manager, Dennis Cummings. Who is D-Rock, if you know? I don't know exactly what he does for Mr. Combs, but I guess he was like security or somebody. Do you have an understanding that he worked for Mr. Combs? Yes. Where at Soho House was the meeting held? It was held The rooms are not there anymore, but they used to have like a meeting room on the first floor. In which city was the meeting held? Hollywood. In Los Angeles? Yeah. Can you describe what happened when you arrived at the Soho house? Yeah, I walked in and I met D Rock. He was escorting me into the room. And then I got to the room and it was one wall was all window, and Sean Combs was standing there staring out the window with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. Yeah, it was just me and him in the room, no security, nobody. Was Miss Ventura present when you initially arrived at the room at the meeting? No. What happened when it was just you and Mr. Combs in the room at the Soho house? We discussed, pretty much the whole story about how me and Cassie first started to date to what it was to how it ended. And his whole point was, we were homies, that was my girl, and I let him know that, she told me that they were broke up and I took her word for it. Yeah. What was Mr. Combs' demeanor during this meeting? Very calm. He kept offering me water. He offered me water twice. What was your reaction to his demeanor? It was very off putting. It was weird that he was so calm. You mentioned that Miss Ventura wasn't present when you first arrived. No. Did that change? Yeah, she eventually came in. And how did you react when Miss Ventura arrived? I was upset to find out that she had kind of went back to him. What did Miss Ventura do when she arrived? She pretty much kind of explained that we fell in love and things just happened, and I believe you testified to this earlier. How soon was the meeting at the Soho in relation to the day your car was on fire? I think it was like the next day. At that same time, did you have conflicts with anyone else? No. Can you describe how the meeting with Mr. Combs ended at the Soho house? Yeah, we stood up, shook hands, and as I was shaking his hand, I said, "What are we going to do about my car?" I made sure to ask him right when our hands were clasped together, where he couldn't run away and I could look at him square in the eye. And he looked him right back at me, very cold stare, and said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "Okay." I took my hand from him and he said, "Wait, I thought we were cool. Is there a problem?" I was like, "You said you didn't burn my car, right? You said that's your word?" He said, "Yeah." I was like, "That's it." When Mr. Combs looked at you and said, "I don't know what you're talking about," when you asked him about your car, what was his tone of voice? Very calm. After this meeting, were there any other kinds of break-ins at your home? No. After this meeting, after this meeting, was your car ever set on fire again? No. Have you seen Mr. Combs since that Soho meeting? Yes. Approximately when did you next see Mr. Combs? A couple of years later at the Soho house again? Can you describe what happened when you saw him at the Soho house a few years later? Yeah. He was with his daughter and he pulled me to the side and basically apologized for everything. He said I was, quote, "Man, I just want to apologize for everything and all that bullshit." Between the break in and the car fire and Mr. Combs' apology a few years later, did you have any other conflicts with Mr. Combs in the interim time period? No. After I got that apology, I kind of found peace with it because I thought, that was the last thing I was expecting to get from him. Your Honor, may I have a moment? Court, you may. No further questions, Your Honor, at this time. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Mr. Steele, cross-examination starts now. All right. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and thank you. We are now at cross. We're definitely flying through the read of this. Thank you. Oh my God, Sylvia again. Thank you guys for the super chats. I want you to think about this. If you were Diddy, Kid Cudi, well, if you were Kid Cudi, would you how would you have reacted to all of this? Let me know. If you're watching the replay, please hit the like button and tell me your thoughts in the comments. This is heating up. Now we're at the cross-examination, which left a lot of cliffhangers for us. Here we go. Let's do this. All right. Cross-examination is done by Mr. Steele. I want to ask you some questions about your Porsche. Okay? Yes. So if you remember, it's January 9th of 2022. Does that sound about right? 2012. What did I say? You said 2022. I apologize. 2012. Yeah. Sounds right. Yes. And you are with your former girlfriend the night before at her sister's house. Fair to say? Yes. And you get a phone call alerting you that there had been serious damage to your vehicle. Yes. And are there any surveillance photographs at that time? No. And law enforcement was called, correct? Yes. Fire department also came. Do you remember that? Yes, my dog sitter did send me some pictures of the damage. You know that fingerprints were taken, true? Yes. And you understood what fingerprints were in 2012, right? Yes. You knew that DNA was collected, true? Yes. You knew that DNA comes back to a female, right? You said what now? The DNA comes back to a female. Objection. Grounds. Miss Johnson for the government. Hearsay, speculation, foundation. The court directs to Mr. Steele. Mr. Steele, maybe you can ask some more questions. Sure. Are you aware that the DNA was collected from your vehicle? Yes. And you kept in touch as much as you could about this incident. Fair to say? Yes. I reached out to the police department a couple of times. And were you aware that the results came back from the DNA? That it came to a female? That's my question. Objection. Same objection, Your Honor. Court says sustain. Do you know that there were results from the DNA? Objection. That's overruled. I tried to reach out to the police. I didn't hear any follow-up about any of the fingerprints or anything. No eyewitnesses that put Sean Combs near or around your property on or about January 9th of 2012. Fair to say? Yeah. And no eyewitnesses or any other evidence that anybody affiliated with Mr. Combs was on or around your property on January 9th, 2012. Is that true? Objection. Hold on for a second from the court. That's sustained. You don't have any information, do you? You personally, that anyone affiliated with Mr. Combs was on or around your property at the time of the damage to your vehicle. Is that true? No. So it's January 9th of 2012. But before that date, if you can just lock in before that date, your relationship with Miss Ventura had ended. Fair to say? Yes. And you knew it. And you knew it ended because she told you it ended. Fair to say? I don't know if she told me it ended. We just stopped talking. And you and Miss Ventura have been talking every day for about a year. Is that true? For the most part. And when I say every day, I'm not saying it has to be just on the phone. It could be in person, on text, but you were in close communication with her, right? Yes. And that's why it was surprising to you, or I think your word today before this honorable court and the jury, you were very confused to hear that she was dating Sean Combs while dating you, right? Yes. Miss Ventura was not frank with you, true? True. She played you. That was your words, right? Yes. When she played you, she was convincing about that, right? You had no clue. No clue. You were with her a lot, right? Mm-hmm. True? Yes. Now, you are a very accomplished artist. I know you're modest, but that's an objectively factual statement. Fair to say? Yes. I'm not trying to embarrass you. Yeah. And you have done incredible things with your career. Fair to say? Yes. And you have a following that is so close to this day of fans. True. Yes. And in 2011, so I'm going back to the year we're talking about. I know we're talking about 2012, but it goes into 2011, 2012. You did a nationwide, actually international Canada 2 tour. Do you remember that? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. Called, I believe, and you tell me if I'm wrong. You got to tell the jurors, Cud a Life Tour. You remember that? Yes. You were approximately, I'm not saying it's 100%, approximately, if you remember, a concert in different cities than Los Angeles every week. You had 65 different places that you visited. Does that sound about right? I don't know if it was 65, but yeah, you were the act. You were the lead. It wasn't like you just hooked up on to somebody else, a bigger artist. True? True. And you were playing at large venues, right? Yes. And in 2011, you also knew you had previously known of Mr. Sean Combs, right? Yes. And you describe in your words, if you don't mind, but he was an icon at that time. Is that fair to say? Yes. He transcended different types of businesses and art. Is that true? Yeah. He was in fashion, right? Yeah. Music? Yeah. Not only perform, but he produced, right? Right. He made others people tremendously popular or tried, right? Right. Objection by the government. Court says it's overruled. Cudi answers right. And he was in other types of businesses, including liquor and other international ventures. You knew all of this, right? Somewhat. I didn't know all of his business dealings. When Sean Combs was with you at one event after one of your concerts in 2011, he actually asked you if you would do him a favor and do a song with Miss Ventura. Is that true? Do you remember that? Vaguely, yeah. You graciously agreed, right? Right. You were in a studio doing your art with Miss Ventura. Is that true? Yes. And that's how you guys really became close, right? We were cool before. And this didn't hurt your relationship, right? It was nice. You enjoyed the time with her, true? Yeah, it was truly just friends at that time. Mr. Combs wasn't around you and Miss Ventura when you were with her, right? No. And she wasn't getting all these text messages from him, to your knowledge, when you were with her, right? Not to my knowledge. You two were locked in. You two were focused on each other. You had a great relationship, is my point. Is that true? Yes. And you did things like you exercised together, right? Exercise together. Yeah, you went hiking. No, I don't remember going hiking. Watch movies? We watched a movie or two. Did music? Yeah. Drugs? Your Honor? Can we get a time period? 2011. Mr. Steele looks at Johnson and says 2011. The court says, let's get a new question. Mr. Steele responds, yes. Did drugs together? When you say drugs, what do you mean? Like weed? Yeah. We smoked some weed? Yeah. Objection from Miss Johnson. Sidebar. Court says sustain. You can move on. Objection. Can we get a sidebar? You may. Okay. The court says they have a sidebar, which is not, it's captured here. All right. Put a one in the chat if you want to read the sidebar. I think we should be good on time. Put a one in the chat if you want to read the sidebar, if you want to know the deets of the sidebar, because the sidebars get a little bit interesting. Blue Venus, thank you so much for this $2. Lawyers who object during direct always cross. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Venus Blue, I think it's strategy. Put a one. Y'all, you guys are nosy and you want to know what the sidebar is. I'm here for it because I'm nosy too. This is hot off the presses and I haven't read this. Ronan's like, I'm always nosy. Shout out to Ronan. Okay. I tried to get a little bit animated because this can be really boring, but I don't think this is going to be boring. Let's talk about how the sidebars are the arguments of these professionals. Okay. Let's get into the how they drag each other on the sidebars. Okay. Let's move on. We don't need to cover this. What's going on? So the judge takes them, the attorneys. They're having the sidebar. Mr. Steele, I believe that it was discussed on direct. I'm exploring their relationship. And then the court says, what is there to explore? What's the relevance of the question? Mr. Steele says, they were intimate. Ms. Johnson for the government. Your Honor, this is a direct violation of Rule 412. The court says the first question definitely was. I sustain that objection. What's the objection on the second question? Okay, Ms. Johnson responds, same objection. I think intimate is also violating 412, especially given the sustained objection. The court says, let's move on. I think you can talk, and they were in a relationship, right? What other relevance to this does any of this line of questioning have? What does it matter? Mr. Steele says, all right, I note my objection. The court says, I'm asking you a question. What is the answer? Mr. Steele responds, I think it matters that there has been testimony from Ms. Ventura that she is being suffocated. These are words by Mr. Combs, and she is spending all her time doing unconsensual sex, yet she is having intimate relations with this gentleman, and it's all calm and consensual. That's really where I'm going. Court says, if that's the proffer of relevance, then the objection is sustained. Let's move on to the next question. This is such an important statement right here, my friends. Let me highlight this. Is that a proffer of relevance? That's what the court says. Okay, let's go. Yo, so Steele wanted to bring up the sex with Cudi, and the court was like, why does it matter? And he's like, well, if it's consensual, but she's over here saying that Sean Combs wasn't consensual. Oh man, to be a fly on the wall. Let's get it together, y'all. We're almost done. Okay. Mr. Steele, you may proceed. Mr. Steele, Kid Cudi is asking a question or making a statement. The court tells Mr. Steele he can proceed. Mr. Steele, the court stops Cudi. You can't say anything. Mr. Steele is going to ask you a question and you can answer. The witness, Cudi, I just want to clarify something from earlier. The court then says, you're going to have a chance to redirect. Cool. Do you want to clarify something? Mr. Steele continues. Yeah. I don't think the date was 2011 when Sean Combs asked me to do the song with Cassie. I think it was 2010. Thank you. Yeah. Now, you really liked Miss Ventura. Is that fair to say? Yeah. She is smart? Yep. She is talented? Yes. And she was fun to be with, right? She was fun to be with, true? Yes. Outgoing? Yeah. Strong personality? Yeah. And she is interesting to be with, fair? Yeah. And she told you, did she not, that for the last 4 years, so I'm going back 2011, 4 years before that she really wasn't with Mr. Combs? It was off again, on again, something to that effect. Is that true? I don't know if was the exact conversation we had. The first time she talked to me about her relationship with him was around Thanksgiving 2010. And that was when she was telling me she was having problems. Do you remember meeting with the prosecutor here, as well as other people, including the agents, about this case? Yes. Do you remember telling them that you believe for Miss Ventura that for the past 4 years before 2011, she and Mr. Combs were in constant on again and off again and on again? Do you remember that? No, I don't remember that. There may be a book that might help us in front of you. It is to your left. If you see it on the bottom of the page, which page? If you look at the second, you might have a post-it note. At the very top of a couple of pages, the second post-it note. Okay, Mr. Steele tells Your Honor, for the parties who don't have the book, it is 3512-004. If you look at the second post-it, you see the very top. The second post-it is a police report. Objection, Ms. Johnson. Hold on. Mr. Steele, first of all, there are post-it notes in this binder instead of usual tab pages that we usually have. Do you have this on you? Can you just show Mr. Cudi the document on the screen? Yes. I myself am having trouble finding it. This is the court. It's 3512-004, the court. It should come up on your screen in the second. Okay, questioning continues. Page 6, the middle of the page. It's the second full paragraph, 3 lines up. It's going to be highlighted for you. The court speaks. Just a second. Read it to yourself, and when you're ready, you're going to get another question. All right? Questioning continues. By Brian Steele. You can see where it's highlighted. You can read it all if you need to. Cudi responds, okay. The court. Take it down, Mr. Steele. Sure. Okay, so there's some issues about logistics that's happening here. Fair to note. Question by Mr. Steele. Do you remember telling law enforcement that Miss Ventura told you that the relationship with Mr. Combs, objection by the government? He continues his question, Brian Steele, had been off again and off for 4 years. Law enforcement, hold on. What's the grounds? Ms. Johnson speaks. Reading from the document, the court says, are you asking the same question you asked the last time? Correct, Mr. Steele says. Overruled. Mr. Steele, let's get a new question. Do you remember? Question, new question. Mr. Steele continues. Do you remember telling that to law enforcement? Yes. In 2011, Miss Ventura confided in you, true? Yes. And you confided in her? Yeah. You were even so close with her that for Christmas that year, you flew across the country to Connecticut, her home state. Is that fair to say? Yes. And you spent about 3 days Christmas with Miss Ventura? True? Yes. Her mother and her father and her brother and her brother? And you did things with their family, true? Yes. And you had, it was a great time. Yeah. And you felt very close with her. Yes. And this was after the trespass into your home, true? Yeah. With regards to, you said that you were hurt when the relationship ended with Miss Ventura, true? Yes. Because you really cared for her and you knew your feelings for her and you felt that she felt the same about you, true? Yes. By the time of December 22 of 2011, that's when your house, remember when you talked to the ladies and gentlemen of the juries? Yes. I want to talk to you about some of that, okay? Okay. You believe that you left your front door open. When I say open, I mean unlock. Is it fair to say? Yes. And there was no forced entry into the home, true? No. Am I correct? Yes. And in the home, there was no damage to the home. By damage, I mean there was no chairs turned over, glass broken, holes on the walls, things like that. True? No. The only thing, and I'm not belittling it, but the only thing that were displayed differently is that there were some Christmas presents that were unwrapped, right? Yes. And your dog was behind the door? Right. Locked in the bathroom, basically? Yeah. True? True. And no other disturbances there, right? No. And you spoke with Mr. Combs or Sean that evening or that morning, right? I don't know when. I can't remember. Do you remember calling? You're talking about after the break-in. I'm asking, okay? Steele interjects. I'm asking when you went back to your house and you called him on the phone, you told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, yeah. And Mr. Combs, he was calm, right? Yes. He didn't curse at you, did he? No. He didn't threaten you, right? No. He just said, we need to talk, basically, right? Yeah. And you were demanding from him, are you at my house? That's basically what you were saying? Yeah. Later, after you got home, you called Mr. Combs again because he's not at your house, right? Right. And he answers the phone. True? Yes. Again, he's calm, right? Yes. And he tells you, I'm coming to your house, something to that effect, right? Yeah. There is no mention of a firearm, right? No. No one threatened you with a firearm, right? No. You came to meet him. You had no belief that he had a firearm. No one. Miss Capricorn didn't tell you that, right? At that point, I really didn't know. Maybe he would. I couldn't call it. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. Miss Capricorn didn't tell you that, right? No. But I took it. Court says, hold on, Mr. Steele. Okay. I guess, Brian Steele continues the questioning. I guess what the judge is telling us, the answer to the question, you related a conversation with Miss Capricorn Clark, to the jury, right? Yeah. And didn't tell you he is armed with a firearm, right? No. You're a strong person. Is that fair to say? That's how you categorize yourself? Yeah. You are a principled person. Fair to say. Yes. And you went back to the home. You told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to fight Mr. Combs if he was there, right? Yeah. Because nobody has the right to wait for you in your home, whether damage was done or not. That was your position, right? Yeah. If you want to talk, you can text me, you can call, but this crossed the line. And Miss Ventura, when she told you and confided in you about her relationship, about her relations with Mr. Combe, she told you that there was physical abuse, right? Yes. And that bothered you because you were, these are my words. If it is not true, just say it is not true. You were in love with her, right? Yeah. And she never told you, as close as you were with her, that there was any type of sexual abuse. Is that true? No. Am I correct? Yes. And she also told you, with all your dealings with her, texting every day or speaking every day or seeing her every day, whatever the relationship is, what I'm talking about. You never saw Mr. Combs do anything inappropriate to Miss Ventura. Is that true? No. Let me just ask it differently. Am I correct? Is that a correct statement? Yes. You were never interrupted by Mr. Combs. True? No. You spent time with her freely, right? Right. And Miss Ventura was free with you. She was carefree as far as you could tell. True? Yeah. Now, with regards to going back to the meeting at the, I believe you said it's called the Soho House. Yeah. And some of the jurors may not have been there before. Okay. So have you been, or do you remember being in that room? Can you describe that room that you talked about that you and Mr. Combs were in? Can you just paint for them what it really looked like? Yeah, it's like a nice size big room, windows. One wall was all windows looking into Beverly Hills. And we were on, like, I don't know, Soho House starts at like the 7th floor. So something like that. We were so high up. Do you know some people may not know what is the Soho House? If you were going there, what would you be doing there potentially? It's like a members only type of restaurants, slash, meeting place. You can have business meetings there or just get lunch, dinner. Questions continue. Now, Mr. Combs made it clear to you that he was also confused. True? True. Just like you. He similarly situated, he did not, to your knowledge, know that you were dating Miss Ventura. True? Yes, true. And he wants to understand how did this happen, and you want to understand how did this happen, basically, right? Yes. And Miss Ventura was living 2 different lives. Is that true? Yes. Objection by the government. The court overrules. When you went in that room with Mr. Combs, no weapons, to your knowledge, true? No. He definitely didn't threaten you, true? No. In fact, he was gracious. I think your word was really calm. Yeah. You were professional as well, true? Yes. And it was an understanding, a meeting that this was about a girl, a relationship, and both of you guys were played. That's pretty much how it ended. True? True. And the person who played you is the same person who played Sean. It's Miss Ventura. True? True. To your knowledge, we're approximately, if you don't mind, approximately 13 and a half years after January 9th, 2012, when your car was damaged. Is that approximately true? Yes. To your knowledge, no one has been charged or arrested for the damages to your car. Am I right? No. Objection by the government. Court says sustained. The jury should disregard the witness's last answer. Mr. Steele, have you ever gone back to court at any time or been notified to go to court as a victim about your car? Objection. Damage? The court, do we need a sidebar? I'm not understanding the grounds. Do we want a brief sidebar? Yes, government says. Whew, all right. Let me mark this right here. Let me mark this right here. Now hold up. I think we have okay, page 147. I think we're almost done here, y'all. I think 158. Yep, 157. Cool. We got 10 more pages to go. We can do this. We can fly this. Ooh, how are we doing? Y'all hit the like button because I got to be done soon. Hit the like button. Thank you guys for being here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you. I'm not even paying attention to the chat. I don't want to get distracted. But I'll look at the chat in a little bit, okay? They have a sidebar. Drop a 1 if you want to hear the T on the sidebar because they're getting into it. Drop a 1 in the chat. Let me know. You want to hear the sidebar. Shannon, well, what do you think about them going? All right, y'all want to hear the sidebar? All right. Okay. Who y'all are invested? Look at all those ones. Okay, let's do it. Because I got to get done. At the sidebar, I haven't read this, so I'm kind of interested to know what happened at the sidebar. Your Honor, that question is asking Mr. Cudi to testify about a legal conclusion regarding any other cases related to his car. In fact, the arson in this case that relates to his car is charged as a predicate in this very indictment. Hence, he is here testifying. The court says, thank you. Now I understand. Mr. Steele then speaks. Now I understand too. I'll make it clear in the state of California. Ms. Johnson continues, I still don't think that's relevant. It should be excluded under the confusion and 403 grounds. The court speaks. I think what he's saying is that there was an investigation that you brought up on direct examination. Law enforcement was on the scene. He's just trying to say that as a result of that investigation. There's no follow-up. He didn't go back. There wasn't any proceedings in California. That's all he's saying. Miss Johnson interjects. I don't know that. Mr. Cudi knows that. I think we need to limit the time period if that is in fact the question. Mr. Steele speaks. I will say before this case or before 2024 is that Miss Johnson interrupts. It was 2012. The court. You said law enforcement was on the scene. Did that law enforcement, did they figure out who had done this? Like something like that? Miss Johnson speaks. There's no foundation that he would know that. Steele speaks. He would know it under the victim's right, Bill. If somebody was arrested, he has to know that. The court speaks. Well, he doesn't know any of that. Your point is that he has not been contacted by law enforcement in California concerning what happened. Steele speaks. Exactly. The court says, that's fine. All right, we'll do that. So they're arguing about techniques and rules and what they're going to ask and everything. All right, here we go. The court. Mr. Steele continues with the questioning. In the 13 and a half years that has passed in California. Have you ever been notified that there have been any actions on this case in California? Actions on the car, the damage to the car? No. Your Honor, may I have a moment? The court says you may. Okay. He's going to back to questions by Brian Steele. Do you remember back when you were with Miss Ventura? Did she have multiple phones? If you can remember, I don't think I remember that. Do you remember telling that to law enforcement that she had multiple phones? I don't know. I don't remember. I can't remember. Can I ask you to look at something in this honorable court with this court's permission to see if it jogs your memory? Yeah. If I said it, I guess I said it. The court speaks. Let's go on to the next question. What are we looking at, Mr. Steele? Mr. Steele speaks. It is 3512.006, page 6 or of 7, fourth paragraph, second line. Steele continues with the questioning. Would you do me a favor and read that to yourself when it's on your screen? It's the line above it. It's going to be highlighted for you. And tell me if that refreshes your memory. Yeah, it does. Court says take it down. Mr. Steele, next question. Fair to say, with your memory refresh, she had multiple phones? Yeah. Do you know what a burner phone is? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Can you explain that to the jury? I guess it's an untraceable phone. With regards to the night of the trespass in your home, I think you called it a break-in. I guess more narrow to trespass, but that's what I'm talking about, okay? Right? You received a phone call from Miss Ventura explaining that she gave your home address to Combs. Do you remember that? The morning of, not the evening. About 5 to 5:30 in the morning. Fair to say? Yes. I'm just trying to coordinate you. Yeah. And that information about your address, according to what you were told, came from Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs. Yes. Your Honor, I do not believe that I have any other questions. I want to thank the court. Thank you so very much, sir. Yeah, no problem, Kid Cudi responds. Miss Johnson, all right, we are in redirect examination. So the government is going to ask Kid Cudi more questions. Miss Johnson, thank you, Your Honor. Here we go. Mr. Cudi, you were asked by Mr. Steele some questions on cross-examination about Miss Ventura confiding in you. Do you remember those questions? Yes. And do you recall that Mr. Steele asked you about Miss Ventura confiding in you about Mr. Combs being physically abusive to her? Yes. And what did Miss Ventura confide in you specifically about that abuse? That he would hit her, sometimes kick her? Do you also remember that Mr. Steele asked you some questions about whether Miss Ventura was free when she was with you? Yeah. And he described her as carefree. Do you remember that line of questioning? Of questions? Yes. Directing your attention to the day of the break-in, the morning when Miss Ventura called, would you describe her as carefree when she called you that morning? No. Would you describe her as carefree throughout the day when you saw her? No. You were also asked some questions about a conversation with you had with Capricorn Clark. Do you remember those questions? Yes. Now, what exactly did Miss Clark tell you about how she ended up at your house that morning? She told me that Sean Combs and an affiliate came to her apartment and made her get in the car to come to my house. What else, if anything, did she say about how they made her get in the car? They forced her physically. What were your concerns, if any, about going to your house that day? I didn't know what I was walking into, but I was so angry at first. Then once I thought about it, not really knowing if they had weapons or if there was any type of situation like that, that's when I called the police. And did you know either way whether there were any weapons involved? No. And when Miss Ventura called you that morning, what was your understanding of what she was scared of? Him finally knowing that we had been hanging out and that he had my address. He was probably going to come over to my house. And who's the him that you are describing? You said what now? When you say him, who are you referring to? Sean Combs. And how would you describe Cassie that day of the break-in? Just looked, just really shook. You have an understanding of why she was shook? Yeah, because of just the circumstances of him finding out about us. You were also asked questions about your feelings for Miss Ventura. Do you remember that? Yes. And you were asked about whether you cared for Miss Ventura. Do you remember that? Yes. Why did your relationship with Miss Ventura end despite having feelings for Miss Ventura? The drama? It was just getting out of hand and kind of like wanted to give her some space. What drama are we talking about? The breaking and everything. Why did you want to give her space? Just feels like things were getting out of hand. And and for my safety, for her safety, I just thought objection by Mr. Steele. Your Honor, the court says, let's get another question. When you say your safety, why were you concerned about your safety? Objection, Your Honor. Court says grounds, speculation, future dangerousness. Court says that's overruled. Repeat the question. Sure. You just said you were concerned for your safety and Miss Ventura's safety. Why were you concerned about her safety? Because Your Honor, objection. 404A. Court says, give me a second. Mr. Steele says, can we approach if needed? The objection is overruled. Miss Johnson, could you ask the question again? Sure. You were talking about when you broke off your relationship with Miss Ventura. Do you remember that? Yes. And that's around the end of the year 2011. Is that right? Yes. And you mentioned you had safety concerns? Yes. Why did you have safety concerns? Because I knew Sean Combs was violent. Objection, Your Honor. Can we approach the court? You may approach. Here we go. Sidebar. Another sidebar. Drop a 1 in the chat if you want a sidebar. Guys, we're almost done. I promise, because I got to get out of here too. Thank you, Ronan, for the $20. Sidebar funds. Thank you. ×2. Thank you. Luigi says, exactly, because isn't the first cardinal rule of perm maintenance that you're forbidden to wet your hair for at least 24 hours after getting a perm? Oh my God. This is legally blonde. I can't even say ammonia thioglycolate. This made me laugh. Oh my God, Luigi. Thank you. That shit was funny. That's too much reading. All right. Drop a listen. Are we nosy? Are we nosy now? Okay. Let's hit the 1. Here's the sidebar. May I, Mr. Steele? Yes, the court. Your Honor, Mr. Steele speaking. I'm going to move for a mistrial. The government knows. Hold up. Let me get this down real quick. Wait. A mistrial? Hold up. Your Honor, I'm going to move for a mistrial. The government knows that the answer is about to be that Mr. Combs has had other people killed. This is an outrageous question. He didn't say that, Mr. Steele responds, but he will say that. He hasn't said that. Well, he's about to say it. I'm putting the court on notice. The court responds, no, you don't get to put me on notice. There's no ground for any kind of application along those lines because no question that you're talking about has been asked and the answer has not been given. Now, what is your objection to the question that was asked? Mr. Steele continues or speaks. Why were you scared of Mr. Combs? And his answer is going to be because Mr. Combs is violent. He's had other people killed. His understanding of the things that had happened and his understanding of what the event is not a 404A issue, which is what was raised, correct? Mr. Steele responds. It's not going to be a 4. It's not like, okay, the court interrupts. That was the objection that was raised. So what is the objection? Mr. Steele responds. He called this friend. This is what is in the 3,500. I know the court read it. He called this friend who told him that Mr. Combs had other people killed. I believe that's going to be the answer why he was scared. I'm preempting it because I know the court, if he says that, oh Lord, did I lose my, hold up. I moved the bar. If he says that, the court interrupts. That's the way you raise the issue? Okay, Mr. Steele continues. Yes, I just want to give you a preview. The court says, now what further questions do you have? Miss Johnson? Miss Johnson responds, I don't have further questions on this, and I don't believe that's what he would say. I was specifically directing this to the end of the relationship and his concern at the time. The court speaks. Well, to be fair, you asked the question, and you got the answer. And Mr. Steele, your point is, let's move on, right? Please, Mr. Steele speaks. So let's move on. Okay. All right. Let's see. Ms. Johnson, you may proceed. Ms. Johnson continues. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cudi, do you recall being asked on cross-examination some questions about the meetings you had with Mr. Combs at the Soho House? Yes. Do you recall that Mr. Combs asked you questions about what Mr. Combs was thinking during that meeting? Excuse me. Do you recall that Mr. Steele asked you questions about what Mr. Combs was thinking during that meeting? Yeah. Objection. Can you rephrase the question, says the court? Do you recall that Mr. Steele asked you questions about whether Mr. Combs thought the meeting was about a girl? Yes. Do you recall testifying earlier today about a conversation that you had with Mr. Combs at the end of that meeting? Could you repeat that? Do you recall testifying earlier today about a conversation you had with Mr. Combs about that meeting? Yes. Do you recall testifying that Mr. Combs said, I don't know what you're talking about? Yes. Objection. Mr. Steele objects. Hold on, Mr. Cudi. If there's an objection, sometimes you can't hear it. Okay, sorry. That's overruled. We got the answer. Let's go. Mr. Combs said, I don't know what you're talking about when you asked about your car. Is that correct? Yes. Did you believe Mr. Combs when he said he didn't know what you were talking about? Objection. Steele objects. The court says, Ms. Johnson, can you rephrase the question? What was your understanding when Mr. Combs said he didn't know what you were talking about at the end of the conversation? Objection. That's overruled. You can answer that he was lying. Ms. Johnson, no further questions? All right, Mr. Steele. Thank you, sir. No. No further cross. All right. Mr. Kid Cudi, thank you very much. You are done. Thank you. Kid Cudi thanks the court and he's excused. This is when they break. All right. All right. Let me stop this because this has been intense. What do y'all think? Ooh. What do y'all think? Break. We're done. We're done. Oh my God, y'all, I'm tired. I got to go to bed. I got to go. Order in the chat. First of all, shout out to everybody that supported today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fitz LA, Luigi, Sylvia, Luigi, Blue Venus. Thank you, Venus Blue. Did you finally become a member, Abraham? Hello. I felt like you were already a member. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the membership. Thank you. Oh my, are you a member anywhere else? I don't know if you are, but shout out to you. Last Ronan, thank you so much again. And Luigi, thank you. Oh my goodness. That was great. The sidebar. So, Brian Steele did get reprimanded by the court. Clearly, that's what we just saw. He got yelled at. Okay. And Brian Steele wanted to call a mistrial on some thought that Kid Cudi was going to say something to the effect of getting people killed. Okay. So this is the tea, y'all. This is the sidebars that we don't get when we're reading everybody else's. I'm here for the sidebars. I am here for the sidebars. All right, guys, I got to go because I got to go get some rest. I got to go to sleep, y'all. Shout out to everybody. Thank you, Charlie. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. Y'all enjoy your day. I got to go to bed. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe we'll see. Hit the like button. I'm editing another video. Dawn Richard, when she was cross-examined. Did she lie? you got to stay tuned because that cross-examination, it reveals a lot. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.